Residents of Molyneux and surrounding areas are being asked to prepare themselves for adjustments to their daily lives as work intensifies on the land slippage project. This story and more in the National Report.
Have you noticed an increase or decrease in your electricity bill? You know that changes in the fuel and non-fuel rates affect your bill. You should also be aware that changes in household activities affect your bill. Ask yourself these questions. Have the rates changed? Have there been more people at your home? Have your children been on holiday? Have you used your fan or air conditioning unit more often to beat the heat? Are any of your electrical appliances or equipment faulty? Have you added any new appliances such as transformers, water heaters, or pumps? Make it a habit to understand any changes on your electricity bill. For more factors that affect your bill, visit www.grenlec.com. Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Welcome back. With the details to the news for Wednesday, October 26, 2022, I am Sherry-Ann Noel. Infrastructure Minister Honorable Dennis Cornwall has called on the residents of Molyneux and the surrounding areas to be prepared to make sacrifices and adjust their daily routine as work on the Molyneux land slippage site intensifies. The call was made during a community meeting on Monday attended by Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation Honorable Andy Williams, Honorable Lennox Andrews, along with Avanish Dabade, contractor at the CEI, and consultant with Beston, David Blake. Honorable Cornwall says his government understands that there will be inconveniences for people having to travel longer routes, especially the children from the area attending the primary and secondary schools. However, resident safety must take priority.
The road will be closed. There will be no road between here and the other side at the point in time. And we want the residents of this area, or the users of the area, to understand where we are coming from. If you do not heed to what we are saying, we may have to do things that are not the nicest way. We wouldn't want to basically bring in the police force to ensure that people adhere to not crossing. Crossing while construction is going on would be dangerous for your own existence. We don't want any mishap in this area. And so we are begging you, we are pleading to you to allow the contractors to do their job in a way that would minimize any risk of lives or any damage to anybody. What you see right now on the project site that has happened so far is that some clearing has taken place. But there would be need for large excavation of a whole portion of land underneath there to make sure that that piling can be done in an effective way and so on. So there would be no road per se.
The issue of safety for all also formed part of the presentation made by Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, Honorable Andy Williams. He told the residents that his ministry will work closely with the Ministry of Infrastructure to ensure the project is completed within the stipulated 10-month period.
We know that you have been patient thus far in terms of using the alternative route. And we know that the people of Mount Morris, again, have been patient in terms of having the amount of traffic being, through there. It is dangerous, right? It is dangerous for residents to pass through this road to connect to the other road. We have seen soil or gravel being gradually just coming down from the area, and you don't want someone to be walking there and something bad happens. Right, so I think we are trying to, to be, lenient, because we know this would serve or is important for people when they come into shop and so. But we will have to block it off because we do not want anything to happen to anyone here.
Consultant on the project attached to Beston, David Blake, urged the residents to pay close attention to the information shared, as there will be many risk factors during the critical period of construction of the project, as sections of the land is still unstable.
Just last weekend there was some moisture in the air, some rains came, and we noticed pockets of the gravel and the soil, the loose soil, moving down. So that is a very fragile but also very active environment. and we would like you to make arrangements to access boats through the bypass road. Minister said the bypass road there through Mount Moritz for a period of time. It's not forever, and we need you to assist us to deliver to you a good functioning project that will last and without regrets. If anyone is injured there, let alone a fatality, we will all be shattered and we will all suffer vast reputational risk.
The sentiments of the consultant were further strengthened by contractor Avanish Dabade on the risk involved in traversing or lingering around an active construction site of that nature.
We request you, and we are taking an opportunity here to inform you that this is a real risk. When my machine work there, even we also feel that we are constantly observing how the land will behave. This entire land is gravel, so we are expecting that it will fall down. So it is always recommended that no person should travel when machine is working. Even you will find so many posters again, so many signages there. But we request the people not to travel. And during night time especially, when work is stopped, I've seen the people are going where the excavation area, demolition area is done. So I don't expect the people to go there and harm themselves. So again, we are requesting, please not to go. Consider this is your construction site, and we wanted to make this construction activity completed without any hazard.
Residents with the relevant skill set were encouraged to visit the site office once interested in gaining employment as the project progresses. Moving along, in this time of reflection and observance, Grenada Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell is calling on citizens to focus on healing as a true way of moving forward. Prime Minister Mitchell was addressing the National Ecumenical Service of Thanksgiving on Tuesday in observance of October 25, 1983. The service was held at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception under the theme, Remembering Mercy, Giving Thanks.
For many, however, October 1983 is still remembered with great pain. Next year will mark 40 years since the demise of the Grenada Revolution. And while we continue to give thanks for the progress made over these years, my administration understands that to move Grenada forward in a healthy and sustainable manner, we must address the healing of our nation. Moving forward, in an effort to address the myriad of legitimate emotions that surround this period in our history, we will engage communities across the island in a week of activities that begins on 19th October and culminates on October 25th. This approach seeks to encompass the significant events in this period and will provide an opportunity for increased dialogue, reflection, and introspection on one of our most formative events in our recent history.
U.S. Embassy Charge d'Affaires Francis Herrera says it's time to remember all who contributed to peace and security.
We want to honor the brave service members who made the ultimate sacrifice in this noble cause. Reflecting on the theme, Remembering Mercy, Giving Thanks, we say thank you to the citizens of Grenada for their assistance during the intervention. They include men and women from all walks of life and from every part of Grenada, Carriacou, Petite Martinique, who heeded the call and responded. They showed their dedication and commitment to this nation by crafting a tradition of democracy, peace, and security.
Meanwhile, it was a somber moment honoring the sacrifice of the 24 Cuban workers who died in Grenada on October 25, 1983, following the U.S. invasion. A memorial and wreath-laying service was held at the Cuban Monument in Point Celine, St. George, on Thanksgiving Day, Tuesday. Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Joseph Andel reaffirmed solidarity and support of the government and people of Grenada toward the government and people of Cuba.
The events of 39 years ago must never be forgotten. It was an example of human solidarity at its best, of people who are prepared and determined to make the ultimate sacrifice in defense of an ideal. And in the world that we live in today, where everything, especially politics, has become so transactional, the heroism demonstrated by those Cubans is put in even greater relief when we compare to what prevails today. So it is not a day for long speeches. I would just like to reaffirm our commitment to the principles of human solidarity, of Caribbean brotherhood and sisterhood, to reaffirm the eternal links between the peoples of Cuba and Grenada.
Dr. Terence Marichaud of the Morris Bishop and October 19, 1983 Martyrs Foundation led the activities on Tuesday. Dr. Marichaud says although the circumstances surrounding the deaths of the Cuban workers was tragic, today calls for a celebration of their lives and sacrifice.
Today we do not mourn their deaths, but we celebrate their lives and their legacy. As the poet Francis Marion Crawford said, "They fell, but over their glorious grave floats the banner of the cause they died to save." We celebrate their resilience and their determination to stand up and defend that cause, the cause of international solidarity, that noble and just cause of humanity. Today, as we celebrate their lives and their legacy of the fallen Cuban comrades, we again thank the government and people of Cuba, as well as their families who have been deprived of their love and support, for the sterling example of resistance, selflessness, and solidarity that they have provided us. There is no question that they are the true heroes of the Cuban people and by extension the Grenadian people because of their selfless contributions to our own development.
784 Cubans were in Grenada at the time of the U.S. invasion, assisting the country in developing its infrastructure. Ambassador of the People's Republic of Cuba to Grenada, His Excellency Luis Ernesto Rodriguez, stated that the sacrifice of the 24 Cuban workers will forever be a reminder of human solidarity.
Their example will multiply, their ideas will multiply and multiply themselves in us. There will be no power, no weapons, no force that can prevail over patriotism, internationalism, feelings of human fraternity, and communist consciousness that they represented. Long live to the heroes, our heroes and martyrs. Long live the friendship between the people of Cuba and Grenada. As Fidel said, Grenada and Cuba was and continue being sister nations.
Viva Cuba! Viva, Viva Granada! Viva, Viva la hermandad entre los pueblos cubanos y granadinos! Viva. Forever!
Long live friendship and solidarity between the Grenadian and the Cuban people. Long live international solidarity. Let us forever go forward on our feet and never on our knees.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
A call is being made for a memorial to be built to recognize the lives of Grenadian soldiers who died in combat during the U.S. invasion 39 years ago. At a remembrance service at the St. George Cemetery on Tuesday, Thanksgiving Day, for the first time, ex-soldiers from the Revolution attended to show their respects and honor their fallen comrades in arms. Dr. Terence Marichaud of the Morris Bishop and October 19, 1983 Martyrs Foundation remembers the odds surrounding the Grenadian soldiers at the time and hails their bravery and heroism.
On this day, 25th of October 1983, with the invasion imminent, Grenadian soldiers were called out to defend the homeland in a futile attempt to resist this overwhelming invading force. Not only were the soldiers ill-equipped and disorganized, contrary to what was happening years before when they were prepared for the defense of the homeland in a holistic way, in many instances they were leaderless, as some of the top brass of the army cowardly went into hiding, leaving the soldiers to their own devices. Yet despite all of this, our Grenadian soldiers of the People's Revolutionary Army took a stand to fight against the most powerful military in the world. And stories are told about the epic battles that they fought against the invaders, which actually surprised the invaders. Our Grenadian soldiers, even knowing that they were fighting against tremendous odds and against an implacable enemy, decided that they would rather give their lives than allow a foreign aggressor to take over our country.
Yes, long live.
Their heroism and bravery are reminiscent of the early Caribs who in 1651 preferred to jump to their deaths rather than be captured and enslaved by a foreign power, this time the French. It is reminiscent of the Federal Revolution of 1795 and all of those who gave their lives to the cause of freedom of the Grenadian people.
Delivering the homily at the ceremony, Father Hugh Logan says there will always be hope and a future for the people of Grenada.
Out of the pain of a people comes creativity. And that's what we have experienced. Out of the pain during the revolution, out of the pain that so many families still have to deal with, not knowing where the sons and daughters are, not being able to give them a proper burial. Out of this pain, we have seen in our people creativity, resilience, hope, energy, life. And that's the work of God. That's the work of God, and that is what God invites us to do today. Prayer is putting our lives and the situations of our lives in God's hand. Because God can bring good out of darkness.
In remembrance of the fallen soldiers, Sergeant Lacret of the People's Revolutionary Army Expatriate Welfare Association performed the roll call of the men who lost their lives.
Comrade Colin Carter. Present. Comrade Keith Noel. Present. Comrade Stephen McQueen. Present. Comrade Joy Mitchell. Present. That was one of my students in training. Comrade Michael Charles. Present. Comrade Roy Antoine. Present. Comrade Alston Francis. Present. Comrade Keith Francis. Present. Comrade Elton David. Present. Comrade Thomas Mitchell. Present. Comrade Daniel Lawrence. Present. Comrade Godwin McQueen. Present. Comrade Cleveland Phillip. Present. Thank you very much, comrades. Present. Long live.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives is moving forward with the revision of the National Food and Nutrition Policy, one of the priorities of the transformation agenda set out for the sector that is expected to improve access to food. Understanding global food security, which is currently being threatened by many factors including COVID-19, soaring food, energy and fertilizer prices, international conflict and others, the ministry will focus on institutional strengthening and capacity building to achieve this. Speaking at the World Food Day celebrations in St. George's on Friday, Senator Adrian Thomas said the policy, which is expected to be reviewed, aims to meet the dietary needs of Grenadians to support their active and healthy lives.
The ministry will move speedily to have the National Food and Nutrition Policy reviewed for implementation. This food and nutrition security policy recognizes the physical, economic, and social access. This food and nutrition security policy recognizes the right to food and to ensuring that all Grenadians at all times have physical, economic, social access to safe, nutritious, culturally acceptable, and affordable food in sufficient quantities to meet the dietary needs for that active and healthy life. Brothers and sisters, in moving forward with this policy, particular attention will be given to animal production, and in particular, poultry production. Increased crop production inclusive of the introduction of white potatoes.
The ministry has aligned itself with the 2022 Heads of Government of CARICOM commitment to reduce the region's large food import bill by 25% by 2025, which includes several commodities for increased production.
The CARICOM 25% by 2025 reduction in the regional food bill aligns with our transformational agenda, and the ministry supports this initiative. Poultry production is at the top of CARICOM lists, and we are fully cognizant of the need to develop the local poultry industry to meet the national demand and reduce both the volume and value of poultry inputs.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives is also aspiring that there will be an overall saving of at least $26 to $30 million each year if 10% of imported produce is replaced by locally grown foods. Other areas identified by the ministry is the need to increase food production, the implementation of reforms in the agriculture sector for addressing issues of predial larceny and the marketing of agricultural products, strengthening linkages between agriculture and tourism, the development of the agribusiness and agro-processing sectors, the cannabis industry, spice replanting, marine resources, and the blue economy sector. And with that story, we come to the end of the National Report for Wednesday, October 26, 2022. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Sharian Noel, thanking you for viewing.